Hey friends, I don't know what I'm going to say today. I've got a lot of ideas rolling around in my head. I don't know if I'm going to be able to connect them all, make sense of them all. I think that I may not have actually put them all together ahead of this recording, which is something that I like to do. I like to get my thoughts in order, structured, not necessarily creating a script, but just having an understanding of my thoughts rather than putting them together as I speak. I put them together in my head, solve all my problems, and then I feel more comfortable putting them out there. So this might fall apart. We'll see what happens. Hopefully I won't have a lot of time staring off into space trying to figure something out, but I'm not beyond that, so it may happen. I think that I did identify a place where I wanted to start, and it was talking about anger. So I think there's a lot of people that are like me that have been raised to think that anger is unacceptable. Which is interesting because I think that there are other people that live their lives in anger, like that is their default emotion. But there's a lot of people, and I think a lot of Christians that were raised to feel that anger is unacceptable. But I think that gives people that allow themselves to be angry, it gives those people kind of control over people that hold back their anger or run from their anger. I kind of feel like, and it's not just anger, I think that I was raised that no negative emotion should be allowed in myself. It's just like ungodly. I think that the one instance in Christianity where where Jesus was angry was when he was at the temple, and so that's like the one thing that people can look at and say, well, you know what, God gets angry too. And I guess in the Old Testament, God was kind of a God of anger, and he tried to kill a lot of people, or did kill a lot of people, or commanded his people to kill a lot of people, however you want to phrase it. But he's a God of anger in the Old Testament, and then a God of love in the New Testament. And I don't really want to get into religion right now. I'll get into it later probably. But I don't know why God's so inconsistent. He turned over a new leaf. God's not supposed to be like that, right? He's supposed to be consistent and the same yesterday, today, and forever. But he acts very differently in the New Testament and in the Old Testament. But in the New Testament, it's very much about love and acceptance, which I think is wonderful, because there's a lot of people, especially me. I mean, this goes back to my childhood, my upbringing, my dysfunctions, my trauma from my childhood being very rejected, not just by my church, but by the people that should have loved me, that incorporated that message of judgment, rejection, shame, and put that on me. And it took me a long time to deal with the guilt that I had in me. It took me a long time to deal with the shame that had been put on me. And I mean, I spent a whole 10-year marriage resolving that conflict, that pain, and that dysfunction. Even after that 10-year marriage, I did not really know how to access my feelings, how to allow my feelings. And I'm a person that does not sit well with cognitive dissonance. I really want to be consistent between my actions and my beliefs, or my actions and my feelings. And so either my beliefs needs to change or my actions needs to change. And so once I decided that I was no longer going to be Christian, I was all out. I didn't want to continue going to church, continue in that community, even continue in the state that I was living in. The woman that I was married to and I, like, let's get out of here. Let's get away from this culture, this community, these people. And I think that was, I don't know, maybe it was a good move. I guess that's not really something that I've thought about. It's an interesting idea that I should think about some more. But it was that leaving behind the religion and the rejection of any negative feelings, or of feelings, of negative feelings. I think that my feelings were very unbalanced. See, here I am thinking things through that I haven't thought of before. I think my feelings were very unbalanced, and that I was allowed to have love, I was allowed to have acceptance, I was allowed to have patience, I was allowed to have forgiveness, but I wasn't allowed to take a harder line, to have any fear or anger or jealousy or greed. And so this is an interesting idea that I haven't really thought about very much, but I think that there should be balance, as I have talked about before. There needing to be balance between the different aspects of ourselves. There should be balance in our emotions as well. And when you only allow yourself to have positive emotions, those can take over and disadvantage you in comparison to somebody who has more balanced emotion. But I think that it can take over your life in another way. And I think that that my codependency in my romantic relationships, in part, was due to this unbalance of relationships, of emotions, I mean to say. Okay. So it took me some time to allow myself to feel my fear, to accept my fears and my anger, my frustrations, to be able to cry, to be able to have emotions. I think that I didn't only have a strike against me because I grew up in a culture that told me not to have emotions, not just within the church, but then there's like toxic masculinity and stuff like that, and men shouldn't have emotions. But I think that I have another strike against me, or another, I don't know, maybe strike's not the right word, but I'm not sure what the right word is, and I'm not going to move on. I have another challenge to face, that I am not an emotional person to begin with. Like, that's just not in my nature. And you can have we could talk about nature versus nurture, but I'm not going to. But it just wasn't in my nature. And so then other people that were raised in that culture of not having feelings, of rejecting negative feelings, they didn't buy in so much. They weren't so invested in not having feelings because they were more inclined toward emotion. It was in their nature to have emotions. And so me, both having my nature and my culture, my nature and my nurture, I guess you could say, both reinforcing this lack of emotions. It was just a 1-2 punch, I guess you could say. And it's taken me some time to really push back against that and really allow myself to have emotions along with the logic that is so important to me. Okay, anger. What am I wanting to say? I think that there is not enough anger in our nation. in the United States of America, that we should be a lot more outraged about what our government is doing right now. And I am, like I said, I'm very bad at being emotional, at being passionate, at being angry. I'm a very calm person. I'm a very chill person. That's just my nature. You know, somebody can insult me to my face, and I'll be like, "Oh, look who's talking." I mean, this is like, why should I care about what you say? Why should I get upset about that? But when our government is abusing us, is killing us, is insulting us, is wasting our resources, is stealing our resources, when our government is killing people in our names with our tax dollars, I want to do something about it. And my logical, peaceful nature wants to say, there's got to be something that I can do logically and peacefully to address this. And I'm starting to see more and more the value of anger. Okay, so where are these ideas coming from? A book that I'm listening to right now is called The Righteous Mind, and it is talking about leadership. It mentions leadership. I think it's talking about Plato and Socrates and some other guy. I can't remember what his name is. They have these conflicting views on where morality comes from, and some of them are saying morality. I think it was Plato and Socrates that were saying morality is something that comes from truth. It compels us, it drives us toward truth. And when we find that truth, we want to hold to it. And so then morality leads us to act right, to act in a way that is beneficial for our community because it is truth and because it is right. And their opponent in this argument says, no, morality isn't coming from truth. It's coming from judgment. It's coming from our community looking at us and saying, you are not doing right. And so we are going to judge you and reject you and punish you for the things that you are doing. And it's that judgment that keeps us moral. And the author of the book found that Socrates and Plato were wrong, and their opponent, whatever his name was, and this is all historical, right? Their opponent was the one that was right, saying it's the community that's judging you and rejecting you and punishing you that's actually keeping you right. And I think that this is what we can see from Donald Trump and the MAGA movement and the Republican Party that embraced that movement, is that Donald Trump is not acting morally. Based on, I mean, there's different codes of morality. And I don't think that he's acting according to any code of morality. He's acting very much for himself, for his friends and family, for those who are willing to bribe him. He's acting in their behalf. I don't know of any morality. I'm not a person that studies morality, so I don't know a whole lot of different moralities. So maybe there is some. I don't know. You can say so in the comments. People say that kind of stuff all the time. But I don't think that he's acting according to any frame of morality. And yet, he is not getting punished. He is not being rejected, judged, and punished by the community. And he's definitely not acting according to truth, because the man has so many lies within him that they burst out every time he opens his mouth. So he's not getting morality from truth. He's not getting morality from judgment. Truth is really an internal thing, that he needs to find his own truth and act according to that truth. The problem is that truth is relative. Different people have different truths. So maybe Trump's truth is that he's the only person that matters. He is the most important person in the world. His narcissism is an acceptable state, and everyone should be bowing down to him. I don't know, maybe that's his truth. But look at where it has gotten us. With the abuse, with the theft, with the lies, with the misrepresentation of what Americans want to be. Not murderers, not world conquerors. We just want to be able to buy a house, and afford food. And, so Donald Trump's truth is not our truth. It's not the majority of Americans' truth. And that's why, even though 1 in 3 people are still approving of him, which I find bonkers, 2/3 of people are disapproving of him. We've got different truths going on here. And so we can't just be patient with Donald Trump and say, you need to find our truth and support us. So, what's more important is the majority judging him, rejecting him, and punishing him. And it's not happening. Not enough. Are there millions of people protesting? Yes, there are. Nothing's changing. Not yet. But I don't know. I don't have confidence that another protest or another 5 protests, however many million people there are there, is going to make a difference. I have hopes for the midterm elections in November. And apparently, we just need to put up with the abuse, with the murders, with the theft, with the corruption until then. And just hope that it will actually make a difference. I'd like to talk about what difference that could be, but I won't. Because I want to talk about anger. Because I am, like I said, I'm really bad at being an angry person. I'm really bad at rage, at being out of my mind because of what's happening. I'm pretty chill. But I want others to be angry for me. Not because I refuse to be angry, but because it's just not in me, because it's not in my nature. But it is in other people's nature. And things need to change. We need to do something to bring about change. And I don't know if that is violence, and I don't know if that is destruction, and I don't know if that is murder. But maybe it's all of those things. Maybe it is civil war. I don't know. But the lack of morality. And I'm not Christian anymore, so I'm not talking about Christian morality. I'm talking about the kind of morality that takes care of people. I am no longer a follower of Christ, but I believe in honesty. I believe in caring for people. And when we hear from Donald Trump in his campaign to become president, all of these promises, and he breaks every single one of them, afterwards, that's not honest. That's not moral. He's stealing from us. He's not taking care of us, which is what we elected him to do. I didn't vote for him, but those of us who voted for him, we elected him to take care of us in a way that the government was not taking care of us, to take care of us, our finances in a way that our finances weren't being taken care of, to focus on caring for the American people in a way that people are not being cared for. So we elected him to do that, and none of those things are happening. That is dishonest. That is amoral. So I've been listening to Katie Fang some, and she likes to finish off her podcasts with "Stay angry." And I love that she can be angry for me. And I want others to be angry for me, judging Trump and the government and finding ways to get them out of that office, to punish them. We didn't punish Trump for an insurrection which should have been punishable by death according to our laws. And we just did nothing. And I think that is part of the loss of morality. The people didn't make demands that he would be punished. And where was I when this was happening? I was healing trauma. I was raising children. I was not paying a lot of attention to politics. And now that my kids are out of the house, I am able to pay more attention to politics. I guess that's a luxury. When my immediate demands have let up enough that I'm able to look beyond my own living room and see the destruction in my metaphorical front yard. So those are some of my ideas. And I think that that's probably a good video for today. I think I had more ideas floating around in my head. They did not coalesce into this monologue. So I guess I'll stop there. And as with each of my videos that aren't getting listened to by anyone, and I'm okay with that. I'm not a person that needs to beg for viewership. I'm not making money on this. I don't plan to make money on this. I don't plan to go viral. If one person can watch my videos and feel heard or understood or encouraged, inspired, then that will be well worth my time. But I do believe in a communal energy among humankind, and I am pushing that energy that has bottled up in me out to the universe, out to the rest of humankind. I'm raising my voice so that even if people don't hear me physically, I'm hoping that my energy will be heard energetically, subconsciously, and I will be part of the movement that reforms the way our country is operating. To be continued. Bye.